Crowhaven Farm is possibly the creepiest TV movie of the 1970s. As the story begins, Maggie is listening to her aunt's will being read. She gets a cameo and some milk glass, and her cousin gets Crowhaven Farm. However, the will stipulates that the farm will go to Maggie if her cousin does not take possession in 30 days, and as the screenwriter would have it, a spooky little girl steps out in front of the cousin's car that same night. His car hits a tree and explodes, and just like that, Crowhaven Farm is now Maggie's farm. Somehow, Maggie already knows where there's an old well on the property and where all the house's secret passageways are, although she's never been there. This is because she's the reincarnation of a pilgrim named Meg, who lived there in the 1600s, of course. A pilgrim who was accused of being a witch, and some of her old neighbors have been waiting in the afterlife for her to come back to town, and now she's serving time for mistakes made by another in another lifetime. The truth about this movie is way scarier than Pilgrim Apparitions, though. Crowhaven Farm is really a movie about how some people hold negative stereotypes about infertile women. When childless Maggie starts hearing a crying child and mocking laughter out in the woods at night, her doctor thinks it's just her being hysterical from infertility. He actually says the words, "You've been married for 7 years. Don't you want children?" But instead of telling him to go to hell, she says, "I'll do anything to have a child." And so, the next day, an old lady shows up and asks Maggie and her husband to adopt her orphan niece. But of course, the little girl may not be who she seems to be, especially since she's the same kid who caused the car wreck at the beginning. And it's all because of the lengths Maggie went to get a child of her own back when she was Meg of the 1600s. Yep. This is a revenge movie based on deals with the devil made over infertility. But if you can put aside the overtones and remember this is a 70s movie, Crowhaven Farm is a fun watch because it's so damn ghoulish. There should be more movies made featuring the kind of ghosts you see in this film because they just look like people, and that's the most terrifying idea of all to me. Sure, you can get a jump scare from a ghost made with special effects software, but the idea that normal-looking people who you can interact with and touch could turn out to be ghosts chills me. Anyway, never inherit a house if you're living in a horror movie, and don't make deals with the devil, y'all.